Atlas is a game that once sparked real hope, a pirate world of base building, raids and boss battles, a title that seemed like a strong contender, especially compared to its rival at the time, Sea of Thieves, which had launched just 6 months earlier with almost no content. On release day, Atlas pulled in over 58,000 players, but day after day, the player chart started to look less like growth and more like the heartbeat of a dying man. Greedy publishers, disastrous server management and bugs piled on top of awful optimization. All of it dragged Atlas down to the point where even its official servers were shut down completely, and the few unofficial ones that remains are typing really worrying messages on forums. But I'm not telling you all this to rant about a failed game, I'm telling you this so what comes next hits as hard for you as it did for me. Active player count. A consistent, steady online presence for months now, around 600 players every day. A cult-like micro-community, lumberjack monks, streaming enthusiasts, call it whatever you want, but these people log in every day to this forgotten, broken, bug-reading chunk of code called Atlas, and they do something in there, and they want to know what. Let me say this right away. Recording this video was a bit of a gamble for several solid reasons. First, there was no guarantee the game would even run properly. For all I knew, I'd end up tearing my hair out after yet another crash. Second, I might not find anyone at all. The maps are truly massive, and there is a real chance that by the time I drift from island to island to reach another player, they will have already logged off. And then there is the simple fact that no one is obligated to talk to me. Years spent in a gaming reservation can do strange things to people, you know? What finally pushed me to launch the game was the possibility of the exact opposite, that all these risks might be outweighed by something truly memorable, a bright, strange journey. This is Minibulk, who appeared in one of the started towns populated entirely by NPCs. Merchants selling skins, ships and miscellaneous trinkets, including instant teleportation to Siberia. It's freezing. In the water near the port stood 2 massive abandoned ships, which, surprisingly, could be scrapped for resources. On shore, I saw a weird pig, just stood there like it didn't have a clue. To help my brain adjust to the setting, I decided to spend the first day just wandering the area and taking in the island. The first thing I did was just take a moment to admire the massive statue right in the middle. Then I crossed the bridge and walked a bit further, where I found a small village with a seed merchant. And if you looked off into the distance, you could even spot some other islands on the horizon. Overall, the whole place felt really peaceful and kind of charming. Unfortunately, my walk came to a dramatic end when I dropped dead from hunger. Woke up on day 2 and saw something that gave me hope. A sleeping pirate. That's how offline players appear in this world. Maybe, if I'm patient enough, he will wake up and we will talk. And while I wait, time to do what any respectable pirate would. Hunt massive boars and chop down some wood. The leveling system here is a skill grid. Different trees for different parts of life. Sailing, building, hunting, you name it. There is also an XP boost on this server, so about 40 minutes later I was already looking like a stylish warrior with a spear. But my snoozing body is still lying there like a rock. I didn't have all day to sit next to him, so it was time to get myself a girl made of love, sails and taut ropes. My goal now was to find other players scattered across the islands. Thankfully the map helps. You can see red markers where players' ships are, so I set course toward the closest one. And this is the ships, but they're completely empty. And over there looks like the owner's house and personal zoo. Might be worth playing a little visit. Hello, hey, anybody home? Alrighty then, sleepy time it is. Speaking of animals, yep, Atlas has a taming system that's almost identical to Ark Survival Evolved, which totally makes sense, considering both games were made by pretty much the same team. You've got crocodiles, parrots, elephants, I don't know what it is, and even spiders! Man, I wonder how massive the flies are in this place.
We are big, mate.
Alright, got a little distracted there. There is actually another ship on this island. Time to get the basics ready and set out on the search. Welp, no one here either. Just an empty ship and a lonely old crafting bench. Next morning, I was all set to head out again, but thanks to some top-tier luck, I got killed by the sleepy guy's giraffe, which means my entire inventory is now inside a large, four-legged mammal. Guess I'm sticking around for a while. While gathering my stuff back, I started noticing some unusual animals. They were glowing bright yellow and were known as alphas. You couldn't tame them, and honestly you probably shouldn't even poke them with a stick. You will see why. For a while nothing too exciting was happening. I chased parrots, compared myself to elephant poop and just kinda smoked some bamboo. Until, while playing around with a snake and a scorpion, I may or may not have accidentally caused one of the biggest war crimes in human history. So I was leading these two little guys over to tamed animals. Figured they'd do the dirty work for me. And well, they did. But see that elephant right there? Apparently someone hit him. And now the fight begins. More elephants joined the brawl. Everyone was running around and punching each other. And then, of course, the alpha elephant showed up, and that's why you shouldn't mess up with alpha creatures. Buddy, if you can hear me, I'm sorry, man. I genuinely didn't know this could happen. Eventually, I found a hole in my neighbor's roof and climbed in. The place was simple but tasteful. The guy was sleeping on the floor just like he always does. In any case, I paid my respect one last time to the fallen fluffballs and hit the road again. Tamed a little chicken and a monkey along the way. I mean, come on, I needed someone to keep me company. Hang in there, guys! After every storm comes a calm! On the next island, there wasn't much going on. Just some sheep and massive cobras that almost murdered my precious chicken. Then came an island full of giant fly traps and somehow wolves. But that much was no match for my monkey. Like seriously, when I landed on the fourth island, I got jumped and killed by another wolf, but when I came back to the spot, all that was left of him was a puddle. Never underestimate this monkey. To keep the family growing, I tamed my first ship right there. You can even ride it, though she struggles a bit. I set course for the north, passing sunken ship resting at the bottom and beautiful dolphins jumping alongside me. Through brutal storms and crashing waves, I finally made it to the edge of the map, a frozen wasteland. There I started seeing huge totems of unknown origin. They gave me hope, maybe, just maybe I'd finally find another player. And then I stumbled onto something. A ghost town, empty markets, dry fountains, abandoned restaurants where people used to sit. In 10 days of wandering, I barely found a soul, just old-deaf place structures and semi-ruined houses from long-forgotten player characters, the last echoes of life on this server. It was a disaster. But giving up just like that? Not my thing. So I started a thread on the forum, asking the crowd, "Hi, I bought this game with the purpose of making a video about it. Which server would you recommend for playing and encountering other people?"
There is none. The game has been dead for over 2 years.
Gaming evolved.
GG Atlas.
PvE gaming if you're looking for a PvE scene to focus on building and taking down bosses with other folks. HMU if you want to play. We have a group allied with other groups.
Out of the 3 servers suggested, I went with the Gaming Evolved. It was mentioned twice, which already made it the leader, and it has the largest number of server clusters. Right after joining, I was pleasantly surprised. The chat was alive, and within just 3 minutes, I saw the first real players. Good day, mister! Okay, hello? Sadly, I couldn't establish any real contact with the first newcomers I ran into. All I got was a little hop and total silence. Since it was my first time on the server, I got some cool pirate gadgets, letting me climb rocks, swing on ropes, and fight with a fancy saber.
Once you die, it's all gone. On the bright side, I did run into another newbie. Bad news? He didn't notice me at all, no matter what I tried. People here are even more socially closed off than I imagined. I woke up on a new island again, Skull Island. That pretty much explains the name. This time I set out to buy myself a ship and hopefully find some players who can actually talk. Just one issue. I didn't have enough leather to get the ship, and the only creatures nearby were them. The plan stayed the same: tame a cool turtle and sail through as many islands as possible looking for signs of life. And as you can see, Turtle Donatello is already mine. Alright, easy now, stay away from the tornadoes. Whoa, now those are some serious ships. Anybody home? Hello? Boop, 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 boop. It looks like someone's cooking up a massive building project here. Alright, moving on. Man, this fog is thick. Did you see that too? That's the dude who was riding the dragon.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Good afternoon. Mind if I ask you a couple of questions? I just wanted to know, how did you get into this game and why are you still playing it? Wait, what? You can't hear me?
Press the B when the dog.
No way! What's going on? No. I was in big trouble. My only way to communicate wasn't walking. By the time I reached for the local chat, the guy was already gone. I stood there for like 20 minutes, but he never came back. For the next few days I dug through the internet trying to fix the issue, but nothing worked. For some reason my microphone just wouldn't function in the game, and it became obvious that I needed to rethink how I talk to people around here. Luckily, a pretty decent idea hit me not long after. So what if I used the in-game mechanic that lets you create letters? I sail around to as many player houses as possible, leaving messages in improvised mailboxes with my questions, and then just come back later to collect the answers. That would solve two problems at once. The microphone issue would no longer matter, and I wouldn't have to rely on being online at the same time as other players. I gathered some resources, experimented a bit with the letter delivery, and set off on my journey. Mail is great and all, but I had to restock my omega-3s. My first stop was a house near a giant cliff. I left a message right by the front door. My text was simple. I introduced myself, explained what I was doing, then asked how they got into the game, why they keep playing it, and what the most memorable moment was for them so far. Next up was Zephyrus Whisper, a guy who was just starting his build, so I dropped the mailboxes near his stables. Then I returned to the same Danes I had visited earlier on this server, and just as I was sailing toward the next island, something terrible happened. For the record, that happened twice during my Mailmen adventure. I just didn't manage to catch it the second time on camera. After collecting my things and setting out once more, I reached an island owned by some clearly wealthy folks, probably server admins, judging by the scale of their builds. That's where I got killed again, as I mentioned earlier, so I slightly adjusted my route northward. I left a message for a clan of beavers, then on an island I remembered because of a massive cobra that chased me, after that a square-shaped house with a duck, and finally I made it to the Africa-themed island. There were giraffes standing on the edge of rocks like in The Lion King, and I found my last recipient sleeping inside a glass greenhouse. Right next to it was a huge turret that shot down hostile animals. Damn. Now all that's left for me is to wait. And what do real pirates do when they have nothing to do? Yes, you guessed right. Kitty, you picked the wrong target. Damn giraffes! Run! Run before I finish my another battle! I warn you. Alright, time to build the house. You know what? Looks like you got some serious guts here.
Hey girl, how is it going?
Now that's better. Come on, girls, let's sail a bit. Oh shit, we're sinking. Everybody overboard. Quick, quick. Good news, girls, I found another raft. Where can we dock? Maybe he will do. What a f***! What that damn Yeti's here! Fight, girls, fight! Oh crap! Forgive me, please, my chicks.
God, my little ones, how could I leave you there alone? I can't live with the thought that I left you to die.
Come fight me, you sneaky monkeys!
Okay, I overdid it a bit, but luckily I still have a couple of chicks left. I won't let anyone hurt you anymore, just don't go anywhere. Cause judging by the time I need to start collecting the mailbag. And so, the moment of truth. My hands were literally shaking as I walked closer to the boxes. But it all paid off. They answered. Time to go to check the rest of the boxes. The guys with the cobra and the beavers replied me also, nice! But the guy with the square house just replaced my chest with the barn and didn't reply. Maybe he had other things to do. Then I went to the house on the cliff and got nothing, though they were clearly online. Zephyr's Whisper either deleted my letters or someone else did. And the Danes completely rebuilt their base with no trace of my sign anywhere. I thought maybe they left the answer somewhere nearby. I quietly looked around to see what they managed to build in 2 days and discovered they even built a bar hotel for their guests, with rooms for each individual visitor. And there I saw a local tribe member named Mr. K, just casually running around his base. He kindly opened the door for me and I got a chance to ask him about my letters. Unfortunately, he hadn't seen them. And when I asked if he wanted to answer my questions, he ran around a bit, then politely said no. We said goodbye and I moved on to the last stop of my journey, the rich guys on this island. By the time I reached them, I had only 3 answers out of 7. And judging by the elaborate elevator and the panther, they were home. All that was left was to check the chest. Nothing. 3 out of 8. But hey, I still have 3 answers, and I'm ready to share them with you. So, the first guys are from the island with the giraffe on the cliff.
Hello, my name is Emily Pothen, and I got into Atlas from a friend I used to play Ark with. He liked to build boats, but they never looked quite right, so he joined Atlas, and I joined him too. The coolest thing that happened to me was when my dad and I were role-playing as savages, and a group of pirates raided us. Thanks for having us in the video.
You have a very good dad. Moving to guys with Cobra.
Hello, we are the Skittle Crew. So we've been playing since launch, but off and on. The game itself is really fun once you get past all the non-quality of life features and bugs. But we dreamt of a pirate game for ages, one with shipbuilding, land building, tames, and all the other things are just a bonus. We are sad to see that the game is no longer in development, but that won't stop us from having fun or making our own. Back in the day, we had like 20 plus members with 5 different alliances on Official. There was this French crew that was terrorizing Official. We had a huge ship battle that was amazing. Then things heated up once we hit land and the raid went on for 8 hours with drakes, tigers, horses with swivels, just everything was at stake. After 6 hours of going through their defences, we finally hit their main base, and that's really how we got so hooked on the game, because it was thrilling and brilliant at the same time. I know you said to keep it short, but I couldn't leave this out as it was one of the best times I had in Atlas and I loved everything about it. Now we're a small crew with only a few people, like 3 to 4. We spend a little time on it and we do have a plan for this island, but it might take us months since we can only be on 2 to 3 days a week.
That was one of the most epic things I've ever heard. I really hope your clan turns this island into a true treasure. And now the beavers.
Hi, I go by LowJack. I've accumulated just over 5,700 hours in this game so far, even though it's no longer being worked on by the developers. There are many reasons why I still play. The first thing that got me into Atlas is the pirate theme. Yes, the developers exaggerated about everything, but All developers do that. The boat building, the sailing, the searching for buried treasures, the bosses and the power stones, the ice cave with the abominable snowman, the ghost ship. And then there's taming, especially on unofficial servers where the rates are increased. There are so many different things that give such a satisfying feeling in this game. It's hard to stop playing. Even when a new season starts, it's a new beginning, and who knows what you'll end up with.
Legend. That's him, by the way. Whoa, wait. Who is this?
Hello. So I seen your notes. I just never had the time to make notes to leave a reply. I started playing Atlas in Season 3 when a friend from WoW bought me the game. I truly enjoy it. It is relaxing to build and sail the open sea. I can find relaxation in creating a new structure, decorating, building a ship. I can let out frustration by going around fighting alphas, blowing up ships, or killing Power Stone bosses. I have made many friends through the years of playing Atlas and have even purchased the game for others to play. Even after the devs messed some of the game up then killed the official servers, it didn't bother me much because the mod community and GE server have been here to keep the game alive. Hope this helps.
Saying I'm happy doesn't cover it. That was a truly wonderful act of in-game interaction. So now we have 4 answers out of 8. But those who didn't reply also told me something. They aren't people looking for social interaction. They come to Atlas because it's tied to war memories. Just to feed the animals, finish building a tower, or redo everything. To be alone with themselves. This reminds me of something I often forget amid the flood of microtransactions and session-based MMOs squeezing money for business. Games were always meant to be quiet harbors, safe distant shores where we could escape, places where we lived dozens of lives, made impossible choices, built worlds, lost friends, found hope and sometimes just sat in silence watching a virtual sunset. And the day the industry truly embraces that will be a huge day for all of us. And maybe, just maybe, the world of Atlas will also return, and we will talk about it in a whole new light.